Good morning, beautiful people. I hope that you're having a fantastic day because you deserve absolutely nothing less than that. I hope that you are having a great Saturday because you deserve it. That's as simple as that. But folks, I wanted to talk to you about AdamMail.com. AdamMail.com has literally thousands of items that will transform your love life. Whether you're looking for a Bob, which I call a battery-operated boyfriend, or fun things to do as a couple, AdamMail.com has exactly what you're looking for. They have sex toys, lubes, condoms, BDSM, Clone a Willy, which allows you to make a dildo clone of you or your partner's willy, which I think is kind of sweet, BDSM gear, and I could go on and on. I really could. But, AdamMail.com did not come empty-handed. For listeners of the Dewey Show, and that's you beautiful folks, if you go to AdamMail.com and you fill your cart, you don't have to fill your cart. You could buy one thing or you could buy 50 things. And by the way, this is not exclusive to new customers. If you've used this code once before, you could use it again. What you need to do is, once you're at the checkout at AdamMail.com, you put the offer code Dewey in at checkout, and you will get 50% off of almost any one item, your most expensive item, as well as free and always discreet shipping. Folks, that is AdamMail.com, AdamMaile.com, and the offer code to that is DEWEY. Along with everything else I talked about today, the link and offer code will be in the description of today's episode. Thank you so much to AdamMail.com for sponsoring The Dewey Show. And also, folks, I wanted to let you know, The Dewey Show has started a Patreon. Yes, we are on Patreon because, a podcast takes a lot of investment and personal money and stuff, and it helps us keep going. It helps me, continue going. I would just be really grateful if you checked it out. That's at patreon.com/DeweyShow. So if you head on over to that right now and check out the tiers that I have, I think you'll be pretty happy. I'm going to be adding new prices up there very quickly. Anyway, thank you so much to you folks, and let's get talking about American Nazism. And as sad as that is for me to say, it is a fact that there are Nazis among us. But anyway, let's get into this. So, the tumultuous early 20th century, with the aftershocks of World War I and the profound economic instability of the Great Depression, created fertile ground for extremist ideologies worldwide. Sorry about that, folks. I had to fix a microphone issue. I'm trying to find a good mic for my iPhone. If anybody has any recommendations, hit me up, Dewey at Dewey.show. Okay, so the tumultuous early 20th century with the aftershock of World War I and the profound economic instability of the Great Depression created fertile ground for extremist ideologies worldwide. While scholars and historians frequently discuss the European fascist movements, it's essential to recognize how these insidious ideas also took hold in the United States. Fascism in America during the 1920s and 40s encompassed a range of movements that, despite their diversity, shared common themes of ultranationalism, authoritarianism, xenophobia, sexism, homophobia, and probably front and center anti-Semitism. The 1920s saw a rise in nativist and isolationist sentiments following World War I. The fear of foreign influence and culture degradation led many Americans to embrace radical ideologies that promised a return to the traditional values and national purity. In this climate, organizations like the American Legion and more notably the Ku Klux Klan, aka the KKK, flourished. While not all these groups labeled themselves fascist, their ideologies often aligned with the core of fascist principles. The anxiety of the interwar period gave way to a more overt flirtation with fascism in the 1930s and 40s. Economic despair, coupled with the looming threat of another global conflict, made the allure of strong authoritarian leadership appealing to many. This period also saw the emergence of openly fascist groups like the Silver Legion and of America, also known as the Silver Shirts, modeled after Hitler's brown shirts. And I just want to say something. These weren't like small groups, hiding away, tucked away in a house. No, they once filled Madison Square Garden. That's a fact. And it's crazy. It's fucking bonkers. And let's continue. By the way, I did a lot of studying for this. I hope that you folks enjoy this, because I was watching a PBS documentary on this subject, and I thought to myself, I knew that there was that there's always kind of been people with these, horrible views. However, I really never knew how large they were. And so what I did was I immediately started educating myself, and I wrote my script for you folks. So Jim Crow laws were state and local statutes enacted predominantly in the southern United States that legalized racial segregation. These laws institutionalized a deeply racist ideology, creating a society where African American folks were systematically oppressed and deemed inferior. This local framework not only perpetuated racial discrimination, but also provided a fertile ground for fascist and white supremacist ideologies to flourish. These laws ensured that African Americans were denied basic human rights, such as, including but not limited to, voting, education, employment opportunities, legislating segregation in all public spaces. Jim Crow laws reinforced the notion of racial hierarchy and white supremacy. Fascist and white supremacist groups in the United States found common ground in these laws, using them to legitimize and propagate their belief in racial purity and superiority. The Ku Klux Klan in particular capitalized on the environment created by Jim Crow laws. The Klan portrayed itself as the defender of traditional American values against the perceived threat of racial integration and culture change. Fucking look out for that culture, everyone. Jesus Christ. It wasn't merely a fringe movement. In many southern states, the KKK wielded significant political power, with members holding positions of influence in local governments, law enforcement, and other key institutions. I want you to look up David Duke, okay? He used to be the Grand Wizard, the fucking nerdy little pricks, of the KKK, right? And this dude was a congressman. I don't know when he got in, but he finished being a congressman in the 1990s, not the 1890s, the 1990s. Look him up. The systematic and institutionalized racism of the Jim Crow era allowed groups like the Klan to grow and sustain their influence. The Klan's resurgence in the 1920s was marked by high-profile public events, including marches, rallies, and even cross burnings, all aimed at reinforcing their vision of an America defined by racial segregation and white dominance. This environment might not have only promoted racial hatred and violence, but also provided a convenient facade for groups that shared fascist ideologies to gain traction and social acceptance. And, we're seeing that today. When whoever the hell said history repeats itself, so you need to be a good student of history, that's 100% true. Because we're seeing this again. We're seeing the rise of Nazism, and their hot button attack is towards the trans community and my community, the gay community. We're all just on the chopping block, and we've got folks, gay folks who are out there speaking out. We have some of our allies going out there and speaking out, saying, "Hey, this is fucking wrong." And to be honest with you, I kind of thought that we had more allies that would be like, "Hey, fuck you," And then, don't get me wrong, there are some. Hey, 1 second, Alexa, turn off the fan. I'm getting chilly. Let's see. So Nazis in the American government. As Europe grappled with the rise of Nazi Germany, America was not immune to the spread of Nazi ideology within its borders. While many patriotic Americans vehemently opposed the Third Reich, it's a disconcerting reality that some U.S. citizens and officials harbored Nazi sympathies and even collaborated with Germany. One of the primary conduits for Nazi ideology in the U.S. was German-American Bund, an organization dedicated to promoting the Nazi cause on American soil. That almost fucking makes me fucking sick to hear. It makes me sick. The Bund organization organized large rallies that mirrored those in Nazi Germany, complete with swastika flags, Sieg Heil salutes, and anti-Semitic rhetoric. The Bund's influence was not merely superficial. It aimed to create a pro-Nazi movement within the United States, sustaining some summer camps for children. Oh my God. Yeah, you should look this up. The American Nazis, they have filmed like kids acting all fucking happy, and they're all blonde with blue eyes and probably webbed feet. But like these poor, these fucking poor kids are forced, to learn about hate at such a young age, and they're being used as fucking pawns. And yeah, you look it up on YouTube if you have a second. Pause this and then come back to it. But go to YouTube and type in U.S. Nazi kid camp, and I think it'll pop up. Let me see where I was. And they were conducting paramilitary training sessions and even attempting to infiltrate American politics. Moreover, there were instances where the reach of Nazi influence extended into the United States government. One in particular, a notorious figure, was Senator Ernest Lundeen of Minnesota in the late 30s. Senator Lundeen was implicated in a scandalous chapter of American history that exposed his covert ties with Nazi Germany, though his association with George Sylvester Viereck, a Nazi American, also German propagandist, with direct connections to the Nazi regime. Lundeen was found to have collaborated in a disseminating pro-German propaganda. Viereck, a prolific writer and publicist, used his vast network to influence American public opinions and policy in favor of Nazi interests. Lundeen's involvement, which included reading speeches written by Viereck on the Senate floor, revealed a deeply troubling intersection between American politics and the Nazi infiltration. The extent of the Nazi infiltration to the U.S. government became starkly apparent during the infamous Green Sedition trial of 1944. The trial aimed to prosecute American citizens accused of collaborating with Nazi where am I? Nazi Germany to undermine U.S. morale and assist Germany and the enemy. They were both. Among the 30 individuals indicted were isolationists, fascist sympathizers, and members of pro-Nazi organizations. Although the trial ended in a mistrial due to the death of the judge, it underscored the significant, albeit shadowy, presence of Nazi sympathizers in America. All right, and we're back, folks. I hope that you, are still here. So let's move on to the next part of this. Segment 4, Henry Ford, America's leading anti-Semite. That's crazy, right? The inventor of the conveyor belt, I think it was, or the assembly line. I think that's what we'll call it, the assembly line. While the presence of Nazi ideology in America was troubling, few figures encapsulated the domestic spread of hate as profoundly as Henry Ford. Ford, the revolutionary industrialist behind the mass production of automobiles, also harbored a virulent, I can't read my own writing, strain of anti-Semitism, making him one of the most recognizable and influential anti-Semites in America during the early 20th century. Starting in the 1920s, Ford used his considerable wealth and platform of his newspaper, the Dearborn Independent, to spread his anti-Semitic views. The newspaper's most infamous series of articles, titled "The International Jew," claimed that Jews were, I don't like saying Jews, that Jewish people were conspiring to control the world and were responsible for many societal ills, including economic downturns and wars. These articles were later compiled into a book, which became a widespread reference for anti-Semitic propaganda, both in the United States and internationally. Ford's anti-Semitic publication did not merely remain in the print world. His beliefs and influence extends to his business practices and personal relationships. He notoriously funded political candidates and organizations that shared his prejudices, further embedding anti-Semitism in American society and politics. Ford's influence on global anti-Semitic sentiment was profound. Adolf Hitler, the architect of Nazism, openly admired Ford and considered him a man of inspiration. That was in quotes. So Hitler spoke about Henry Ford regularly, right? Not only that, but the two meet, right? They've met, and I don't remember. I think it's Adolf Hitler. He has like a painting of Henry Ford behind his desk or something. He's like a real fanboy of Ford, which I just find very peculiar. He's a fucking weirdo. Hitler was. The guy's a piece of shit too. So, let's see. Where was I? I'm sorry about this. This admiration was publicly acknowledged when Ford received the Grand Cross of the German Eagle, a prestigious Nazi honor, in 1938. Hitler mentioned Ford in his manifesto Mein Kampf, which translates to "my struggle." Like, fucking wah, boo hoo hoo hoo. Fucking bitch. He's like, I don't get it. Wasn't able to get an art degree because I couldn't paint very good. Well, I mean, his paintings are like fucking. They're better than I could do, but like he wasn't a bad painter. But like the fucking human rights violations that this man perpetrated, it just makes me want to like just shit on anything that he's ever done. Right? Like the Nazis created the interstate system as well as what was it? The Volkswagen, yeah. And I don't want to give him credit for that, you know? It's just like, I want to just say, nah, fuck that. Fuck that, you know? That's not what happened. But it's what happened. So, fuck, I don't know. But yeah, he gave that Nazi honor to him and then mentioned Ford in Mein Kampf, commending the industrialists' efforts to expose what he saw as a Jewish threat. This international acknowledgement underscores Ford's role in legitimizing and spreading anti-Semitic ideologies. Moving on, understanding the confluence of American fascism, Jim Crow laws, Nazi sympathizers, and figures like Henry Ford, a broader examination of culturist and political landscape of the time. The early 20th century was marked by profound social tensions, economic upheavals, and a clear struggle between progressives and regressive forces. This segregation these segregation policies of Jim Crow provided a structural foundation for fascist ideologies and to latch onto. And prominent public figures and groups exploited these divisions to further their agendas. Not the billionaires, not that 1%. They're gonna spend all their money to help everybody that is the middle class or below the middle class. We're gonna their money's gonna end up helping them. So let's make them not have to pay taxes, right? Fucking, I never understood that. I never have. Let's see. The impact of these fascist movements. Oh, okay, we're already there, right? The legacy of these movements is seen in the continued struggles against systemic racism, xenophobia, and anti-Semitism that persist still to this day. While fascism never gained full political control, well, that's not technically true. There are many historians that I have whose books that I've read, or I've read articles that they've submitted to a newspaper or something, and many of them say that Donald Trump's continued actions match those of Adolf Hitler, and the rise of Donald Trump is also very similar to Adolf Hitler, politically speaking. And January 6, 2021 proved that Donald is willing to crumple up our Constitution and throw it in the trash, you know. Also, when he banned transgender people from the military. It's like, why are you doing this, man? You know, why? But I must continue. Let's see, where am I? While fascism never gained full political control, I read that, the post-war period saw a strong anti-communist sentiment in America, leading to the rise of McCarthyism in the 1950s, which echoed some of the paranoia and division seen in earlier fascist movements. However, America's battle against these dark ideologies also saw significant victories. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s dismantled many aspects of the Jim Crow laws. Thank God. Clarence Thomas is working really hard, probably, to undo all of that work. And Alito probably, too. That dude's a fucking sociopath. Legislation, action, and government policies play a crucial role in combating extremist ideologies. In the past, the U.S. government took concrete steps to address fascist sympathizers and collaborators, though investigations and trials, although not always successfully. Learning from these efforts, contemporary policy can aim to, sorry, my phone keeps scrolling up on me, to tackle extremism more effectively. Policies around a reducing economic disparity. Disparity is what it's saying. I can't fucking read my shitty handwriting. That's so sad. Improving education and promoting social justice are crucial in addressing some of the root causes of extremism. Additionally, government and surveillance and intervention can help monitor and dismantle extremist groups before they gain significant traction. However, these efforts must balance security and individual freedoms to avoid infringing on civil liberties. Now, this is my thing. If you are a Nazi, you don't get constitutional rights. Now, let me explain why. Okay? Because this is just how I feel, right? because Nazis despise human rights unless it is them that benefit from them. I hate this fucking cancer of Nazism, fascism. People do not. They try to do their own research, and then it seems like, okay, well, if they go online, right, to start looking into things because they're like, oh, that's kind of sketchy. I don't know, CNN, Fox News. I'm gonna look it up myself, and then they fall down a rabbit hole and never come back. They never come back because they're fucking crazy now. And to me, it is so sad that that's what's happening to America, and that people are open to allowing Donald Trump to become our 47th president because of the fact uh, that the man, he does not dislike fascism. He doesn't dislike Adolf Hitler. According to his ex-wife, he kept a copy of Mein Kampf close to his bed, close to his heart, which is just like, what the fuck, man? Why? You know? He served in the military. What the fuck? What the fuck? Wait, I'm thinking about somebody else. Trump didn't serve in the military. He had bone spurs. What the fuck am I thinking? No, what I was thinking of John Kelly. He was Donald Trump's former chief of staff. Not because I think he's a Nazi, but because Donald Trump was talking to Mr. Kelly. I don't know what proper title a chief of staff gets. But yes, John Kelly was told by Donald Trump that Donald Trump was impressed with Adolf Hitler, and it's weird. It's fucking terrifying at the same time. But folks, that is the conclusion of today's show. If you liked it, or stuck it out for this long, I doubt many of you are here. I'm on my sleeping meds and I'm a little bit loopy, just so you know. But please rate the podcast. You can be honest. Give it nothing. 1 star if you don't like it. You know how the star system works. I don't have to tell you. Now, I also wanted to talk a little bit about my Patreon, okay? I would love for you folks to go on there and become a member for less than 16 cents a day. It's 15.5 cents a day for you to become a starting member. Now, if you want to go higher than that, that's totally fine, but you only have to pay for this starter membership, which is a monthly thing. So, yeah, you get to see everything I have on the Patreon, and I'm working to get more content up there, okay? I'm working to be fair and, try to actually give back rather than just be like, oh, I'm going to shout you out on the podcast. I mean, that's cool, right? It gives you a cool feeling. If this was like a big podcast, but it's not. So, I mean, yeah, that's one of the things I said I would do, which it's just like, people are just like, why though? You know what I mean? Anyway, folks, I love you so much, and I want you to look back at past episodes. I started using the sign-off, love is everything, right? But I'm going to amend it. Okay, I'm going to amend it. I want to say to you that love is everything, and go good.